Alright everyone, welcome back. Not 10, not 20. I can't see them all, but I can tell there's no end to them. They're all from different times and places. That serpent has all the divine mysteries that have ever been mentioned in various legends and lore. Seiba's voice trembles. No servant would ever reveal their true name just because someone asks. But Archer's noble phantasm is so bizarre, Seiba couldn't help but ask.
"それは早計だな、セイバー。英霊は生前持ち得た武器を宝具とする。ならば単純な話ではないか。この宝具はすべて俺が生前に集めたものということではないか。
私を侮っているのか、アーチャー。それこそ絶対にありえない。あなたが何者であろうと、他の英霊たちのシンボルたる宝具を揃えられるはずがない。そのような英霊はこの世界に存在しない。
Seiba's right. All the noble phantasms he has are real. There are demonic swords from Northern Europe and even from South America. No hero ever made a name for themselves in so many regions. Besides, Lancer should be the only one with Gaebulg. Heroic spirits have their favorite weapon they use during their life as their noble phantasm. Based on that rule, the only one who could have Gaebulg is Cuchulainn. But Archer isn't Cuchulainn, and that means his spear can't be Gaebulg. But the thing is, it definitely is the real thing. If those noble phantasms are all fake, that would explain it. But they're real, so that's just... no. Wait. Could they all be originals? The weapons prototypes? It might be possible. Legend and myth don't spring up from nothing. Plenty of myths share commonalities because someone or something served as the model for them. Legends which get to the point of becoming the basis of worship usually only take root in the lands where they are said to take place. That's one of the reasons demonic swords and sacred swords reveal their true abilities in the lands they come from. So let's say there's something from before even that. What if various noble phantasms in mythology existed before they were known and named?
おお、お前のマスターも捨てたものではないな。どうやら俺の正体に心当たりがあるらしい。
It also goes to show how well versed in mythology Shiro is. Like, how much did he have to read to get to this point? Like, I understand he knew the basics of, like, you know, Greek mythology with Medusa, even learning of the folklore and myth of King Arthur and all that, but to know about this particular archer? Seiba turns to face me. She's so far away. I can't help her from so far away. I finally gotten to the point where I can move, even if it's still difficult.
Seiba! そいつの宝具は本物だというのだろう。そう、単純な話だ、セイバ。最も古い時代、まだ世界が一つだった頃の話をしよう。その国は栄え、王はあらゆる財宝を収集した。集められぬものなどなく、足りぬものなどなかった。王は完璧な宝物庫を持ち、その中にある有象無象の武器は使われることなく王と共に眠りについた。要はそれだけの話だ。王の死後、宝物庫の中身は世界に散らばり、名剣であるがゆえに重宝され活躍し、いずれ宝具として扱われた。わかるか、騎士王よ。お前たちの扱う宝具とやらは もともとはその王の持ち物に過ぎないのだと。
It's like an inheritance. As long as you trace an object's history, a base or prototype will always exist. It only makes sense that every legend, myth, or noble phantasm passed down in each country has an original. Far enough back into the past, if one person collected all those prototypes, they could possess every noble phantasm. And that could only be one hero. A hero from the oldest of legends, far older than the legend of King Arthur or Heracles. The tyrant who ruled ancient Mesopotamia. A king who was half god, half human, who collected all the world's treasures, and who eventually sought eternal youth.
ギルガメッシュ、人類最後の英雄王。
Seiba sounds like she's trying to keep the fear from her voice. Gilgamesh relishes her reaction.
いかにもこの身は貴様らでは叶うべくもない最強の英霊だ。
There's nothing else to discuss. All that's left now is for him to use his endless noble phantasms to annihilate his enemy.
ほう、我の名を知った上でまだ抗うか。今度こそ勝ち目がないと悟ったはずだが。
やってみなければわかりません。いかに英雄王といえど超えられぬものがあるはずだ。
The air around Seiba wavers. The wind envelops her as it picks up, becoming a whirlwind's protector. As it does, her golden sword is revealed. I don't believe this. Does Seiba intend to use Excalibur? Gilgamesh stops. He must know how powerful Seiba's sacred sword is, because his self-assured composure falters. Seiba glances toward me briefly, but her focus is on Gilgamesh now. Is she telling me to run away while I have the opportunity? Gilgamesh's back is to the river, while Seiba is over here with me. This positioning must be the result of our shuffling around earlier. Before I realize what's happening, Seiba is facing Gilgamesh, protecting me. I try to force myself to move, and with all the strength I can muster in my numb body, all I can manage is lifting a single arm. I use every bit of magical energy in my body to use that arm to push myself up. I've lost all sensation, but every bone in my body creaks as I begin moving. The pain is a warning. My body is coming apart at the seams, and if I move, that'll be it. I push myself to my feet, ignoring the warnings. I try to endure the pain. I don't have time for it. What I need to do is get to my feet as fast as I can and protect Seiba. I have a really, really bad feeling about this. It's the same premonition I felt when I faced Gilgamesh myself. We can't beat him no matter what. My instincts keep telling me that I just can't let Seiba fight him.
音に聞こえし正見か。いいだろう。
The swirling wind has become a raging vortex. Even in the face of that dazzling sword, Gilgamesh is unintimidated. On top of that,
では、こちらもふさわしいものを出さなければな。
he draws a strange sword from the gate behind them. That's where my premonition came from. The sword he has now doesn't exist in any legend. I can identify every one of the noble phantasms floating behind them, but I have no idea about that sword.
俺はすべての宝具の原型を持つ。だがそれらはすべて無名であり、俺しか持ち得ぬ武具というわけではない。
The sword itself is cylindrical. It consists of 3 segments, each rotating in different directions. It looks like a drill capable of piercing solid bedrock.
だがこれは違う。正真正銘、この英雄王しか持ち得ぬ剣だ。名などないのでな。俺はエアとだけ呼んでいる
が。純粋に宝具の力比べをすると。
Light flashes off their weapons. The two of them are still about 10 meters apart. Gilgamesh can't possibly avoid her attacks from that distance.
そう。なに、遠慮することはないぞ。最強と呼ばれるその剣。一度味わってみたくもあったからな。
His laughter echoes in the space between them. Seiba must have taken that as a provocation.
いいだろう。ならば我が剣、見事受け切ってみるがいい。
Seiba moves. Her lips from the sword's true name. There's nowhere to run now. The noble phantasm released when its wielder speaks its name strikes mercilessly at Gilgamesh.
出番だ。起きるがいい。エア。
The cylindrical sword roars. Oh man. In response to Gilgamesh's words, the three segments roll faster. If Seiber's Excalibur summons a whirlwind by driving wind away, Gilgamesh's Ea creates a gale by drawing in wind. But Seiber's more experienced with handling her anti-fortress noble phantasm. It's faster than Ea. Seiber pours as much magical energy as she possibly can into her weapon in the seconds, igniting its massive power. She doesn't hesitate. Seiber unleashes the might of Sacred Sword so powerful it could split a river in two. At that same moment, a light of matching intensity flares to meet Excalibur's attack. Woo! The impact is tremendous. Raging winds tear trees from the ground. The colliding lights are like an exploding sun blinding me. I'm on the verge of being carried off by the wind. I cling to the ground with my own functioning arm. It's all I can do to weather the storm of the wind, light, and heat. How long will this go on? Their overwhelming attacks are so powerful I feared they might split the world in two. But then... It suddenly answered Seiber surrounded by white light. A crash breaks the unexpected silence. Something thuds into the ground beside me. I know what it is. Even half blind, I couldn't mistake what I'm seeing. Ah, damn. She looks dead. She's a bloody mess. In the distance, the Golden Knight, completely unscathed, laughs like a madman.
人類最強の聖剣とやらもその程度か。人間の幻想など、所詮子供魂よな。
His laughter rises so high it seems to soar up into the heavens. It's supposed to be hilarious to him. He's just smiling to himself, not even paying Seiber any mind now that she's fallen.
Seiba!
She doesn't answer. Blood spurts from her mouth as she tries to gasp. The world goes red. What was I doing? I knew this would happen. I knew Seiber couldn't win against Gilgamesh, so why didn't I try to stop her, even if I had to use a command spell?
しかし味気ない。完全にこちらの圧勝か。相殺することもできぬとは拍子抜けだぞセイバー。ああそうか。少しは手加減してやるべきだった。何しろ相手は女子供だったのだ。
His smug voice is grating. This is my fault. I thought she could win. As bad of feelings I had about this, I was sure Excalibur would win. I may have told her to stop, but my command spell didn't react. I obviously wasn't serious. If I'd been serious about protecting her, I could have used a command spell to make her escape, even if it was just her. And there would have at least been options for me to fight on my own.
さて、ではいただくとするか。汚れてしまったが。何？いずれ同じ目に遭うのだ。ここで傷つこうと問題はあるまいよ。
His voice draws closer. Seiba must have come too. I see her eyes open.
Seiba, 無事か?
Excuse me. I can see her breathing, and I'm still far enough away that I can't reach her. She lays still, but I can't run to her. All I can do is call out to her.
Seiba! Seiba! Seiba!
Seiba's mouth opens. She breathes in and asks, as if to ask for help, but even that is painful enough to send her into a coughing fit.
Shiro, そこにいるのですか?
Her voice is weak, and the question makes clear she can't see me.
待ってろ。すぐに。
I can't very well say I help. I'm on the ground too. I can only move one arm. I can't even offer words of encouragement. At least she can't see me in this pathetic state.
ああ、そうか。負けたのですね。私は。
She tilts her head towards me, her eyes
申
lifeless.
し訳ありません。どうかあなただけでも逃げてください。マスター。
Seiba coughs up blood. Anger seizes me, and I see red. I've been relying on Seiba, and this is the result. I took one hit, and I can't even get up. I grab my head with one hand that still works. I could just about kill myself. I have every intention of crushing my head and so pour all the strength I can into my hand. The switch fails. Instead of using my finger, I imagine a hammer to press the switch to change myself into a mage.
二度と使わないようにね。投影はあんたの手に余るから。
I hear Tosaka's voice. She said that trying to do magecraft beyond your abilities would destroy the caster's nerves and magic circuits. So what? Seiba's more important than any of that. If I can't protect her, I don't need my head anyway. She saved me so many times. I've never cared about someone that way I care about her. So, if I can't protect her, I'm better off dead. I hear the pounding of iron. The shattered bones in my body are being reinforced by magical energy. There's no holding back. I throw my switch open wide, ignoring my own limits. I generate as much magical energy as I can. My spine ignites and my entire body grows red hot. My brain feels like it's melting, and I bite my tongue to endure it. My teeth sink into the fleshy muscle. If I have to bite a hole in my tongue to remain conscious, so be it.
Nani?
The footsteps stop. Gilgamesh's amused laughter stops with them.
シロ。何をしているのです。ダメだ。そんなことをしたら体が。
She must sense something even without being able to see it. Seiba screams as she tries desperately to push herself up. Something in me snaps. I stand up. My body tries to ignore my orders, but it begins to move with the help of the surge of magical energy I pour into it. It's like being set on fire and instinctively running toward water in hopes of surviving. I don't care. It's better than seeing Seiba like that. Ah, right. With my mind very nearly burning up, I finally realize, from the beginning, I vowed to wield my sword because I didn't want her to get hurt.
逃げてと言っているのに、どうして。
I stopped the enemy from approaching. Seiba's behind me on the ground. This is it. There's no way. Excuse me. There's no way I can retreat now. I restrain my panicking, burning body and focus my will. I need to imagine one single thing. I divide the projection into 8 sections and replicate the lost sword. There's something solid in my left hand. I don't even have to look. My second attempt at manufacturing the sword succeeds.
私の剣いえそれでもダメだシロも分かっているはずです動けるのなら今は逃げるのだ
逃げないセイバーを迎えに来たんだなのに一人で帰ることなんてできるもんか
I ready the sword. I hold it in both hands. It's so much heavier than the bamboo sword and glare at Gilgamesh.
やめてシロこの男はそんな
I ignore Saber's words and take a step forward. There's about 4 meters between us. If I rush at him with all my might, maybe I can cut him down. He doesn't move. Gilgamesh watches me for a moment, then laughs.
殺すか
His voice is utterly devoid of emotion. I instinctively block the attack that comes my way. I dodge the surprise attack by swaying sideways. Too slow. The first attack is a sudden gust. The barrage of attacks that follows is like a storm. Blocking is all I can do. Actually, I wouldn't have even been able to block the first attack on my own. Fortunately, when I reproduced the sword, I also reproduced its memory. A sword that's been in so many battles gains a will of its own after all that experience. This sword must have already mastered this particular dance. I can't follow Gilgamesh's attacks, but the sword seems to be able to. Before I move my arm, the sword is already reacting to Gilgamesh's attacks. I let the sword guide me and manage to parry Gilgamesh's fierce attack. It doesn't last long. Every time I swing the sword, my fingers go numb, and I find myself gradually lagging more and more behind the sword's guidance.
雑種見苦しいにも程がある
Gilgamesh must not be able to tolerate even the slightest bit of resistance from me. He glares hatefully at me as he backs up just the slightest bit. I'm saved. If he had kept attacking, I wouldn't have lasted another second. I try to catch my breath, and then
薄汚い見せ物めそれほどそれが気に入ったのならば本物を見せてやろう
he draws a sword. It looks familiar. The decorations are different though. The thought that went into making that sword as well as its soul are too similar to this sword.
この剣の原型
そうだだが宝具としての精度は比べるまでもないぞお前が持つ王を選定する岩に刺さった剣は北欧に伝わる支配を与える木に刺さった剣が流れたものだがこれはその原型王を選定するという聖剣の大元だ
Is he saying he's holding the original model for the sword in the Tree of Supremacy? The Norse's hero Sigmund's demonic sword Gram?
子は親には勝てん天輪を続けるごとに劣化する複製は原型にはかなわぬということだ
Light flares from the blade. The sword understands perfectly that this is the same attack which killed Berserker in a single strike. It must be protecting its owner. The sword in my hand moves toward the enemy's sword more fiercely, more powerfully than ever before. The noble phantasm is called Caliburn, the golden sword of assured victory, but it shatters instantly in the face of Merodach, the original sin. I hear something sliding along the ground. It's a faint rustling sound. Is the park's ground slippery? I roll across the ground like a bit of trash in the wind before finally coming to a stop.
シロシロシロ
Her voice tells me I'm still alive.
なんだ、セイバー。割と近くに。
I thought I'd been blown away, but it doesn't matter since Saber's here. And then as long as I can stand up, I can run to her. I glance at my arm. It's red. My arm is covered in some sort of sticky red membrane, but there's no blood coming from it.
動くな。もういい。いいから動かないでくれ。シロ。
Saber shouts reach me as I lay there staring at my arm. It looks like my torso is what's hurt. That single attack. I'm pretty sure Gilgamesh's sword is what sent me flying. That at least explains why I'm injured. No wonder Saber's so upset. The only thing I can move is my right hand. My left hand doesn't move. I'm not even sure what happened to my left hand. I can't even breathe. A diagonal slash covers my torso, starting at my left shoulder. The slash runs all the way through my body, separating parts of me like mismatched building blocks. I look like a ginkgo leaf. I've been cut open from the shoulder to hip. It's actually creepy I'm still alive right now. I don't think this miraculous survival is going to last long. I'm conscious right now, but my vision's already starting to narrow. Besides, even a tiny movement will send all my organs tumbling out of my torso. Maybe I really am dead, and my consciousness, or my ghost, or something is just hanging around watching what's unfolding.
なんだ、見事に散らばったと思ったが存外にしぶといのだな。なるほど。生き汚さだけが雑種の取り柄というわけか。
He laughs. I'm grateful for it, honestly. The more horribly grating the laughter is, the harder my consciousness fights to cling to my physical body.
だがそこまでだ。貴様に獅子は似合わん。その女は俺がもらう。
More footsteps. This time, he's gonna take Saber for sure. Oh, you know it, baby. We're standing back up. Hold on. Hold on. You ain't taking no one. Especially not Seiba. I pour all the strength I have left into my one good arm. I try to grip the ground with my sticky, slippery arm and lever myself upright, even as I'm on the verge of literally splitting apart. For a brief second, I see Saber's face. She's on the brink of tears. In that moment, I'm proud to know falling in love with her wasn't a mistake.
待て。まだ終わっていない。
I force myself up. Neither of my legs work. The magical energy that barely kept my body moving is gone. All that remains is my faint heartbeat and the throbbing of my organs trying desperately to continue functioning.
ほう、未練か。だろうな。あれはお前には過ぎた宝だ。その気持ちはわからんでもない。ならばこそ他の男の手に奪われるのは悔しかろう。
Too far. He goes too far. I can't listen to another second of his shit.
だから奪うとか奪われるとかセイバーを物みたいに。
I pour what energy I can into my right arm. It feels like it's made of lead. My body creaks and protests, but begins to obey. I push myself up to one knee.
言うこと。
I take a deep breath, trying to focus what strength I have left. Every time I move, I feel my organs shifting around as if with minds of their own.
なぜもう無理だとどうしてわからないのです。
Saber sounds like she's denouncing me. She's far away. In the distance, I can see her staring at me, sad and forlorn. I push everything from my mind to focus on making my body move. Saber's voice is just a distraction. Gilgamesh's laughter, the pathetic state my body's in. None of that's my biggest obstacle right now. Right now, it's Saber. Hearing her say that, seeing her looking like that, it's almost enough to make me give up. Finally,